Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. How are you? It's been a rough week here, and I'm going to do our invocation, and then I have a few words. Well, no, I want to do the invocation for today. As life would have it, the last time I saw you, which was the week before last, I talked about showing up every single week. And then something happened last week that, not this past week, but the one before, that just somebody in our inner circle like almost died. And it was a really rough week. If I had shown up and I went back and forth, hi Joe Carroll and hi Morgan. If I had shown up last Sunday, basically I just would have cried, the whole time. Maybe we could have had a cry fest, but I couldn't. I was too focused on other things and kind of making it through. So I can vague post for you. I can vague talk for you. Things seem to be resolving, and we're okay. Like, everybody is going to be okay. So thank you for the grace for my not being able to be here last Sunday. Okay. So let's do our invocation. It's the same way we always do it, just like all those people in my growing up, where if they wanted to hear from God, they would just flip the Bible open and see what happened. I have a book that I use. It's called Earth Prayers, and I do the same technique. So let's do this, okay? I'm old enough that I need the glasses. Okay. I didn't even have to turn the pages, okay? And this mentions, "O Holy One," and for me, that's you. And me, that's us, each other. Kind of like namaste, which means I honor the divine in you, the divine that is in me. Okay. Blessed be the works of your hands, O Holy One. Blessed be these hands that have touched life. Blessed be these hands that have nurtured creativity. Blessed be these hands that have held pain. Blessed be these hands that have embraced with passion. Blessed be these hands that have tended gardens. Blessed be these hands that have closed in anger. Blessed be these hands that have planted new seeds. Blessed be these hands that have harvested ripe fields. Blessed be these hands that have cleaned, washed, mopped, scrubbed. Blessed be these hands that have become knotty with age. Blessed be these hands that are wrinkled and scarred from doing justice. Blessed be these hands that have reached out and been received. Blessed be these hands that hold the promise of the future. Blessed be the works of your hands, O Holy Ones. That is by Diane New, and it is in the book called Earth Prayers from Around the World. So thank you. I think this week I've gone back and forth as well about really kind of more planning these times, and I'm afraid I'm just not even gonna. For myself, I need to show up here and speak off the cuff. And sometimes something comes to me on Friday or Saturday that I'd like to address, kind of like when we talked quantum physics. But most of the time, hi John, most of the time, my hope is that, I guess this is founded on my fundamental belief that when we come into the world, we are meant to be wholly who we are. I know there's like a nurture side of that, right? There's always a nurture side. But I am kind of a Taoist, I think. Like, I really almost worship, I guess, but in that kind of, I equate worship with deepest respect and attention. And I really have that for flow, like with a capital F. And my ideal vision, I'm not going to even caveat it or, try to minimize it. My ideal vision is that every single being that comes into this world and universe and earth is able to take in and breathe out, and take in and make, and take in and be free to be who they are and themselves, and have space to create what they want and say what they want, which is really a creative act as well. And so for me, having no definition to this time, for me, that's almost like a worship. And I hope and I believe that kind of state is not an individual state. It is not just me spouting off or whatever kind of judgy words we want to use. It is actually allowing my flow to hopefully come and interact with you and your flow of thoughts or comments on the video or whatever. Okay. And I am planning, like I kind of tried to start my weekly, my Wednesday time where it's more of a discussion and a problem solving group on Zoom where we all talk and I'm not just talking. And that will be coming, whether it's this week or next. I'm doing my best. Okay. But that's where that's going to happen. This for me is practicing the flow of in and out and in. And on the one hand, I want things to be useful, but I actually believe that even when they're not observably useful, that maybe they're still, they're still worthy, because I don't know how they might be useful to you. Maybe by making it useful, I'm actually making it less useful for you, because it's just from my point of view. So I did drink coffee today. Later, for whoever has watched and or commented on the video, I prefer that it's comments. But I'm done with giving copies of my book because I don't have any more to give out. So I used to work at a bookstore for a long time, although I don't think this is from there. But I have a lot of books. It doesn't matter if I worked at a bookstore. I just have a lot of books. And I get really scared, but I got this one. It's H.P. Lovecraft. It's a collection. It's a big one. It's kind of like one of those collections you get at Barnes & Noble. This is not like a rare book or anything, but it's all of his great tales of horror. And I get really scared easily, so I haven't read this. Sorry. But that means up for grabs today. So if you want this, actually, no, that's what I'm going to do. If anybody wants this book, comment on the video or in the event, and I'll pick one of you guys blindly. I'll take my contacts out and just point at a thing. This week, I was taking my youngest son to school or from school, theater, whatever. And it was like, you know how you assume your children always know everything about you? Like, because they've been around a really long time with you. And he was trying to really get a grasp of how blind I am. I am wearing contacts right now. And my prescription is like, for contacts, it's like 1050 over 20. Okay. 1050 over 20. And Solomon was doing the math. he was like, that means like everything that everybody else can see at 4 inches, you can't see. Like, I was trying to explain to him how it really changes your view of the world. I'm not a candidate for LASIK. My corneas are thin. I have a thin nose right here, a bridge, and I have thin corneas. And so I'll always be blind until they have, you know, those robotic implants, and I'll go cyborg someday. But it's kind of fascinating thinking about how we are, you know, changes how we see the world or we don't see the world. That's not what I wanted to talk about today, though. I was listening to NPR today for a little bit. Usually I kind of don't listen to it before I meet with you because I just like to have a clear mind. But as I mentioned, the kind of crisis we were in the middle of last week is still, you know, I think everything's going to be fine, but it's still part of everyday life and caring for each other and all those things. And so I just kind of needed NPR to steady me this morning. And I wanted to check in on the Ukraine, the invasion by Russia. And they interviewed a writer, and one line from it really stood out for me. And the interviewer said, "Are you going to be able to write today where you are?" Because she was, you know, she's fleeing. She was fleeing the conflict to be physically safe. And she said something like, you know, this time has to be written about. I've been really paying attention and wondering how social media is going to and is changing this war, this invasion. And obviously it has, you know, there's no debate that it hasn't, or has or hasn't. But we are all kind of participating in it with people in a way, energetically at the very least, but also, you know, watching their videos and watching their experience of this atrocity. I have an opinion, have you noticed? Anyway, but what she said this morning kind of converged with how does social media, you know, and all of the video footage that we have so far and that we'll continue to have change or impact a country's ability to commit atrocities, but also to do something so clearly, well, I mean, incite war and exercise war. And I don't know the answer to that, but what really stuck with me was what in my everyday life and in your everyday life is worthy of being recorded, or not even that. What do we have to write about? Like, I'm a writer. I'm coming to kind of realize that I'm kind of more of a, if you want to put a term on it, I'm more of a communicator, like a, you know, speaking like this. But writing has always come fairly easy to me, probably just because I, you know, buried my nose in a book from the first moment I could. And so I can write. And as I look around my little house, my messy kitchen over there, I'm not showing you. No. And let's be real, my pile of towels and laundry right there that need to be folded. And there's a yard out back. And I've been isolating a lot because of COVID. Like all of the everyday realities of life in the United States and in Colorado. So what about this life needs to be written about? Is it just so mundane that there's nothing? I mean, I'm having experiences that I want to read about from other people. I want to know what they're experiencing. I want to know what they're feeling. And they're very human experiences. And just because something isn't flaring or hugely dramatic does not mean that it's not worthy of being noticed and recorded and experienced first. Like, it doesn't minimize your or my experience of life. For me, that line is when judgment comes in, or like shittiness, crappiness to other people. To me, I guess context matters there. Do you struggle financially? Do you not? The whole money question. I grew up with this kind of glorifying poverty, which people in poverty kind of have to do because it's so hard to get out. So you need some way to make sense of it, right? The same with conflict, the same with disability sometimes. I'm still working that part out inside of even my own self, like my own structure of judgmental thoughts, because I'm still making peace with the fact that to accept the state of being that I have requires grace instead of trying to always fix things. This week, I said to one of my family as I hugged them in a moment of intense connection, I said, I'm so sorry that I immediately went to problem solving instead of telling you that I feel what you feel and I'm having sympathy and empathy. Because I tend to go straight for the problem solving. And maybe we do that, with states of being. I think I talked about this last time. My therapist said I probably have ADD, and I am a child of, a Gen Xer, and there's a lot of stigma still inside my brain about that. Not towards other people at all, like grace and power to anybody dealing. But when she was like, no, it's you, I was like, oh, wait, what does that mean for me? Like, what does that mean? So I circle back to what about this really kind of mundane life? It doesn't, even if I break out and have a bestseller or start really speaking or, succeed like I want to succeed and I'm working towards, what about that makes it worthy of being? No, not worthy. What about it? What parts? What themes? What about it needs to be recorded? And I guess I'm doing it right here. We're recording this weird train of thought. But I want to move through this week and this day noticing, noticing what needs to be recorded. It changes for every person, right? You look at my Instagram feed and I'm recording like cracks in the pavement. Where does that fall? If there's a hierarchy of needing to be recorded, where does a crack, the way the light hits a crack on the pavement? For me, it falls pretty high because I see stuff like that all the time. Maybe you don't ever see anything like that. You don't have to. You see other things, or you experience other things, or you hear other things. I don't know the answer to the question I asked, to be very clear. I'm still working it out. But putting all of that in the context of watching a war and people die and hide in bunkers and basements. Maybe maybe as we watch this conflict, I don't want to call it a conflict because that implies that both sides are culpable, and it's Russia. So this war, this invasion, maybe the way that I was raised, humility, and this is, it doesn't have to be religious. Humility is one of the greatest things that we can claim or call a tribute to somebody else, right? They're such a humble person. But the way that it was in how I lived and was taught, excuse me, is that you got to stay humble and don't get too big for your britches. And so often it's used as a squelching to prevent people from pushing out and risking and breaking out. And there is a very old video that I did maybe 10 years ago from like on one of my trips where I was talking about this. And that is that I think the proper order for humility is confidence and exploration and overconfidence even. Half of what is worth it in life requires kind of overconfidence, maybe even delusion. Why would anyone write a book and think that everybody else would want to read it? I mean, come on, right? But humility is in there. It just doesn't belong at the beginning, except in one particular way. I think humility belongs as we push out and risk and then realize we can't do it ourselves, or we need to know more, or it's going to take more practice, or that just didn't work. And that's where humility comes in, kind of humble to the state of the process of living, instead of trying to squelch our self-worth. But there's another way that humility comes in, right? And that is understanding that everybody has it. Everybody has at least one person who is having a harder time than us. And it is not that thinking, and that's the thing. So often people are like, we cancel. I know my daughter's going to watch this maybe and say that I'm using the word cancel wrong. You can tell me too. But we invalidate each other's feelings by saying that, oh, well, they're having it really bad. Like, nobody's allowed to cry while Ukraine is being invaded, right? That's wrong-headed. That's wrong. It's not. Pain is pain. Emotions are emotions. Feelings are feelings. However, in the everyday practice of our lives, right, I am humbled by listening and humbled in the, I am also a human. So for me, it has like hum, H-U-M, humbled human. They have to go together. And what creates humility inside of me is understanding that I too am a human, and so are they. And they are experiencing things that I am so thankful I'm not experiencing in my town right now. And I can look at my struggles and I can feel as much as I feel, but I can also have empathy and hope and sadness and anger and humility because somebody else is having trouble feeding themselves today. Or somebody else is in danger, like being shot at right now. Or listening to bombs. And for me, that kind of humility is part of the weave of everyday life, not in a squelching way, because everyone who is experiencing the most difficult things and who are the human experience that is worse than mine right now, I would if I were in that situation, and I have been in that situation with grief, grieving the death of my mother, the death of my sister-in-law a week later in 2012, and I saw people having great, amazing times, traveling or whatever, all in that time. And did I want them to have a worse time because I was in pain? No, I wanted them to break out and be their best selves and do everything. I didn't want to squelch their joy because of my grief. And it doesn't mean that we just ignore all the pain and ignore the conflict and ignore all those things. That's not what I mean. I mean that we accept that pain is pain. We try to help each other. And the humility comes from the fact that even when it might seem like somebody is an island unto themselves, there is still an earth underneath that island, okay? You go deep enough, everybody is connected. And the humility that comes into my life most profoundly, but also consistently, is that we are all human, and that if I feel like acting in solidarity with someone, I will do so out of a humility that I am not experiencing the kind of pain they're experiencing. And I'll try to help, but if I can't help, I'll just accept and hopefully everyone God, I don't even know. Maybe I need to futurecast. Has anybody written science fiction where everyone is actually living their best life? And I mean, it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be conflict, but fully being who they are. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe it is actually in, maybe Lovecraft did it. I don't know. But I want to walk through this day and this week with the kind of humility that comes from embracing our experience as human, our shared experience as being people on this earth. And when someone I don't even want to say his name, the horrific leader of the country to the east of Russia, we say no, right? But we don't allow the experiences, the horrific experiences that are happening right now, to make us stop. Especially, I guess it's hard if you're sort of empathic and you absorb, absorb energy, and really feel it. But that's where humility belongs. And I am humble. I feel humble that I get to be here in this space with you, but also with myself. And I don't know if you can see her. No. Oh, she's over here. Max, my cat. So maybe what is worthy? I keep saying worthy. The habits of judgment. What needs to be recorded about this life today? I am just a 52-year-old white woman sitting in my house that I own. Small, 875 square feet though it is. Spouting off about world events and existential topics and morality. And none of those things make it worthy in and of itself, except that I'm alive and I'm going to flow. Make mistakes. Stumble, trip. Be untrue to myself. Is lipstick untrue to yourself? I don't know, it feels resonant, so I wear it. All these tiny little decisions that I make in this life that I have right now, and that you make in the life that you have today. Whether you stay inside your house all day, or you venture out, or you go to work, or you're in a basement hiding. We are all human. Frankly, I read the story about the, I don't know if it was a detachment. I don't really know the military terms for how many people and all those things, but the group of Russian soldiers that laid down their weapons because they could not slaughter fellow Slavs. And that to me is the same kind of experience of being human, worthy of being recorded. Maybe, okay, today in this event and in the comments of this video, I would love for you to show me small, large, profound, mundane, something that, a photo of how you experience being human today. And I'll do the same. I'm looking at my list. I hope that by the next time we meet in a week, that fewer people will be dying, and that there will be a greater sense of grace and fellow humanity in the world as we contain someone who seemingly can't feel it. Knock on wood. Okay? I'm gonna not keep rambling for 20 more minutes today. Joe, Carol, and John, it's great to see you. And thank you for coming. And anybody who watches this afterwards, if you want to comment, I'll let it run for a day or so, but I do have this lovely, humongous, gosh, it is a 600-page book, but it's really light, of all of H.P. Lovecraft's tales. And I just hope that you are surprised by what you might want to record of your life and your experience of life this week. Take care. I will let you guys know as soon as possible if I'm going to do the thing on Wednesday. It is a problem-solving, dream-resolving kind of a meetup where we meet up to help each other remove the roadblocks that life just throws up in front of our dreams and our goals and our needs. Okay? I realized this morning that I need to talk about the stuff that I've actually done, and that one of them is Yoni Flower Collections. I had been wanting for years to build a store and make things from my photography, and I did that. And it's called YoniFlowerCollections.com, mostly leggings, but there are also sports bras. There are leggings for men, John. They're fun. And I'm constantly adding new things. I'm working right now to build out the collection and make sure that everybody who might be of all sizes can get every single design. And then also soon I'll be dropping like sweats and crop tops. I don't know, a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And I hope you'll check it out. So have a great week. Oh wait, I'll give you my blessing. I joke about this. My atheist son rolls his eyes when I do this, but I don't care. So, just in case Christianity's right, and then my spiral blessings, and then fairy dust. All right. Love you guys. Have a great week.